This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
All right, y'all. Before we dive in, a quick heads up.
This show is raw, real, and definitely not rated PG.
We're talking about adult themes, sexual content, and the kind of stuff you probably don't want blasting through your speakers at work or around your kids.
So grab some headphones, pour your drink of choice, and get comfy.
Oh, and just so we're clear, we are not licensed therapists, counselors, or sex coaches.
Sex coaches.
Not sex couches.
We're just a couple of people sharing our lives, experiences, and sexy adventures. An ethical non-monogamy. So with that, pull up a chair and enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beyond Monogamy. I'm Adam.
And I'm Pris. And oh my gosh, I am so pumped for tonight.
Yeah, she's been talking about it since we booked it. So tonight, we've got two guests who I think a lot of you are already going to know. And if you don't, that's about to change. Myrina and Tristan from the Accidental Swingers podcast are joining us. And I just got to say that name again because that name gets me every single time.
Yeah, because it's so real.
It is so real because nobody in this lifestyle has polished, intentional origin stories like these. It's always messy and funny and a little bit chaotic. And somehow you always end up here. Does that sound familiar to you?
A little.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. So we're going to get into their story, how the podcast came together and what they've built and what they've learned along the way. And then, and this is the part I've been looking forward to, Myrina is also one of the key people behind Naughty Nawlins. So if you're not familiar with that one, that's one of the largest lifestyle events in this entire country happening every year in New Orleans.
New Orleans, a lifestyle in one episode. Okay. I can do this.
Yeah, you got this.
Yeah, I got this.
Yeah, she's just fine. We're going to get into all of that, but real quick before we bring them in, if you're brand new here, welcome. Everything Beyond Monogamy lives at beyond-monogamy.com. Every episode, guest bios, our events tab, all of it is right there. You guys know the drill. And while you're there, the confessional is still sitting right there waiting for you, completely anonymous, and it is genuinely one of our favorite parts of doing this show.
We read every single one. Nothing is too out there, I promise.
Yeah, nothing at all. Do us a favor, also hit subscribe, drop a 5-star review wherever you're listening, and share this one because you already know somebody in your life who needs to hear this conversation. All right, Myrina, Tristan, welcome to Beyond Monogamy. We are really glad you guys are here.
Welcome, guys.
Well, thanks for having us.
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for having us. Yeah, we're thrilled to be here. Finally.
Yes.
I knew we would get there. So, we're going to jump right in because I really was looking forward to talking to you guys. Like I said, y'all were the first podcast I ever listened to when I was first looking into this whole thing. And I really want to kind of give our listeners the opportunity. What's behind the name? Accidental Swingers.
You want to tell the story?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it truly was an accident. And we had neighbors in our neighborhood that we had been friendly with for a few years on just a social level, driveway drinks and just hanging out and so forth. And they invited us out to dinner one night, and we went to dinner, and it got a little sexy towards the end of the dinner date. We wound up at a dance club in a small town near where we live called Dunedin, and it wound, we were dancing and flirting, and it just got a little little more colorful than we had ever really, experienced with any other couple before. Nothing happened that night, but it kind of made us think a little bit that, wow, these are really fun people, and let's, hang out with them again. And they evidently thought the same. And so they invited us out for another dinner date a couple of weeks after, which got a little bit sexier. And there may have been some alcohol involved, and we wound up at another dance club. And at this dance club, which was a small Latin dance club in downtown St. Petersburg, we wound up just really, really grinding, dancing, really sexy. I'm a very inept dancer, but it didn't really matter at that point because we were just kind of grinding on each other. And we wound up riding home in our Uber, the four of us. And on that Uber ride, at some point, we all started making out. And I started making out with the wife, and the other wife, and Myrina was making out with the other husband, and it progressed that way for about the next 40 minutes as we were driving home in the Uber. And at one point, the Uber driver asked if everything was okay back there because it got really quiet, and so and everything was quite okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And again, nothing happened that night with this couple, but that then really cemented our interest in figuring out what this is all about. A couple of weeks later, we did have an actual play date with that particular
Okay,
couple.
so were they swingers already?
They were, and
Okay.
we think that they thought that we were too. Either that, or they just thought we were good candidates. We're still not exactly certain.
We know eventually we told them that we were not experienced in this lifestyle. And so, so, and of course you can hear all about this on the podcast, but if you really want to hear the full origin story, there's a lot of twists and turns that go with it, of course, because that's the way it goes. But yeah, so they had not told us that they were swingers. We didn't know.
Okay.
And so it was it was confusing as to why there's this very free sexual energy that normally you don't experience with married couples. And so, so that piqued our interest. That piqued our interest. And so we decided to, like you said, we decided to go for it and have a play date with them. And that's how we kind of learned everything and jumped off the cliff with them. And it was not great. And it was a big mess. And, the accidental part really stuck because this was not something that we were looking for. We weren't looking to change our marriage dynamic at all. It totally was an accident. And so that's why we decided to stick with the name, because it really was, I mean, as you said, not a lot of people tend to move into this lifestyle fully planning everything out. There are a lot of stories where it's that one time in the hot tub, or they were on vacation, or whatever happened, and then the interest got piqued. And so for us, that's how it was too. And it was just happened to be neighbors down the street, but it was not something that we thought we would ever get into. And so it really was an accident. We decided to roll with that and own it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to lie. That was a pretty hot story.
Right?
I was saying. I was like, holy shit, this is getting steamy. We just got started. Oh, man.
Yeah, you have to listen to the actual whole piece of it. Yeah, we're gonna be like shortening a lot of this for you guys, cliff noting a lot of this.
That's right.
But you can hear all the full episodes.
Now, at what point did y'all decided to start documenting this in podcast form? Like, how did this even come about as far as podcasts?
I think it was actually even before that first play date. At the time I was listening to a podcast called Swinger Diaries, which is no longer available. And their format was they would basically do like a Dear Diary, audio diary sort of thing that they would report, about what their experiences were. I loved that idea for us, just as I'm kind of a historian, and I love to, I have very copious notes in my iPhone about everything that I do, and I'm just kind of a nerd that way. And so I said to Myrina, let's just talk about this because by this point, we knew that we were going to have this date like 3 weeks hence. And so we started actually listening to podcasts at that point, which is how I came to, be listening to Swinger Diaries. I have about an hour commute each way every morning. And so I did a lot of podcast listening. And so uh, so before we even got going on this, I said, we were having all these conversations, and there was a lot of really momentous stuff happening in our relationship. I could see and I could feel, and the conversation, the depth of the conversations that we were having, the vulnerability that we were exposing each other to, was really important. And I wanted to remember all of this. And so I suggested that we take out our iPhones and just record and hit record and on our audio notes. And that's how that started. And probably 2 years later, when we started talking about having a podcast, we had this huge library of all the stuff that we had done.
Oh, cool.
And so that was going to be the scaffolding that we could build our podcast around, and which is exactly what we did.
I don't know that if you haven't listened to our podcast, you may not be familiar, because our podcast is very different from most people's because of this piece of the way that we did it. And so what happens is you hear us talking about going to the event or coming home from the event or going on a date or going to parties or coming back from those parties. And you hear us talking about those things in real time, because you're listening to the recording that we did when we were on the way to the party or on the way home. And then what we did is, so this is a couple of years ago. So, and of course we weren't recording this for anybody else but ourselves. So I had to learn how to edit everything, because you're looking at our editor, here we go, talking about that earlier. I had to learn how to do all of that. And so that's why some of it is, it was on our phones. We were in the car. We weren't going to have other people listen to this, but it's really raw. And so then we play the snippet of whatever the conversation was, and then we talk about it in real time. So it may have been a couple of years ago and we went to this event and we got in a fight, or it didn't go well, or whatever happened, or it was great. All of those things. And then on the way home, we talk about how that went. And then in the podcast, then we even talk about it now. So now you're getting a few years later down the road where we're a little bit more smart, a little bit savvier, a little bit more educated in our journey. And we can talk about those things like, holy cow, that's how that was now or then. And how would we do that differently now? And maybe we wouldn't, and things like that. So it's really a unique thing, because we accidentally started recording ourselves and then had all this material for folks to listen to. And it's such a gift. Like, we really are so honored that people enjoy listening to it, because it's like you're in the car with us, and it can get pretty uncomfortable. And sometimes even we go back and listen to it, we're like, oh yeah, that was not a good night. I'm so sorry that happened, or I'm sorry that I did that. That wasn't supposed to be that way. And, but we really felt it was important for people to hear that you can fuck it up, and you can come back from that, and not only come back from it, but be better about it and talk about it and still talk about it. And then that's the vulnerability and the communication that increases and gets bigger and better and stronger. So, so that's why our podcast is a little bit different than most.
And it's often the cringeworthy stuff that is the most important for others to hear. And
It is.
Absolutely.
we can say, yeah, don't do that, or or just be aware that you're probably still going to make this mistake, but at least know when it's happening. And if you can't stop it, just know what's going on.
And I feel like in the lifestyle, we need to have that kind of communication, right? I know a lot of people are like, every lifestyler says communication, communication, communication. And it's like, yeah, no, we really set the bar high. Like, we talk about all the uncomfortable situations, all the good situations, what could we have done differently. And I feel like everybody, lifestyle or not, should have that kind of raw material. We like to learn things like we're in school, right? So when they listen to stuff like that, I feel like they get educated, and they can even bring it into their own relationship. It doesn't have to be a lifestyle relationship.
Yeah.
And I feel like when they listen to podcasts like Accidental Fingers, it's more, holy shit, wow, okay, what's going to happen? Ooh, what's next? And how did they get through that? And wow, they're still together. Things like that, I think, is very good for the community and for just regular people in general.
Well, plus seeing a real life couple navigate their relationship through this sort of life is in and of itself important.
Yes.
And that's something that we get contacted with a lot is, people learn how to interact with each other from what they hear on podcasts like yours and like ours.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's got such an important place here. I am curious about your
Yeah.
opinion on one thing though, because I haven't listened to a lot of them, but I like a lot of how y'all operate and
Mhm.
how you think, and I'm really curious about your opinions on jealousy when it comes to the lifestyle.
It's always a hot topic, and early on, we both experienced jealousy from our own direction.
Mhm.
Early on, Marina had a boyfriend early and started developing feelings that we we kind of anticipated were going to happen for both of us because we're both very emotional people, and as soon as we started this, we realized we're not going to be able to do this without developing feelings for people. And you hear a lot people will say that they're sexually non-monogamous but emotionally monogamous. Well, we kind of figured that wasn't going to work for us, and so when it did happen for her first, I said, "This is what's happening," and she's like, "No, I don't think so." And I said, "Yeah, I think so." And so that spurred a lot of conversation for us, and we were able to sidestep a lot of the jealousy. I was able to sidestep a lot of the jealousy just by uh, the level of communication that was ongoing with us, where she reassured me and in a meaningful way reassured me that this is okay. Yes, I am having feelings for this man, and but that doesn't in any way devalue my relationship with you. And then not much longer later, I found my own girlfriend, and so we didn't enter the lifestyle thinking we were going to be polyamorous, and really at that point I don't think we were. We are now, but that's a whole completely different story. But when I started developing feelings for my girlfriend, we had the same conversation over again, just in the other direction. And I had probably done a lot more thinking about it because I because it happened for her first, and so I was exposed to that earlier than she was, and so, but it was the same basic paradigm, just a little bit just flipped. So we dealt with it with ourselves relatively early, which I think is a real blessing that we were able to kind of get over that hurdle within the first couple of months in the
I
lifestyle.
and I honestly want to even say, you may not even remember this, but after our very first play date. So again, the world was not about podcasting for us. The world was about experiencing the lifestyle. So after our very first play date, I remember in the car, and it's probably on the recording somewhere, where I said, I don't think we should do this because I can't do this without having feelings for other people. I'm just too
Mm.
much of an emotional person. And I want if I want to have sex with someone, I sure would like to have feelings about them because that's how I'm wired. And so anonymous sex to me was not very exciting. And so it was all about once we really got into it and realized, oh crap, that's not what we're not into, like just anonymous fun. What do we do about that? And we even said, you know what, we'll stop right now. After the first failed play date, said, if we can't do this without emotions, and if either one of us are not okay with that, then we need to stop because we hadn't really done anything. So we both said, no, you know what? We're okay with that. Well, of course, we're going to have emotions. We're both very loving, caring, touchy feely people. So that makes sense. So we better make sure that we communicate a lot about it. And that's how early on we caught that was going to be our MO, and that we needed to be even extra pushing that boundary of making sure we're communicating because we knew we were stepping into emotional territory. And
Mhm.
so, and I think it was harder for me than it was for you because for Tristan, just because, like he said, I was the one that kind of had the boyfriend first. And so when it came down to him with a girlfriend, I was like, well, I'm supposed to be the only person, I'm your dream girl. That's what you said, you know?
And you,
I've heard that one
And
before.
yes. And so I feel all of that. And in that very real moment, because that is truly how I felt, but it was also okay and pretty shallow of me to think that how do you not have love for other people just because you're married to your most beautiful dream girl doesn't mean that there aren't most other beautiful dream girls out there. And so through this whole process, that's how a lot of it came. So this was not like we started, there was no jealousy, yay, move on. It's there's still moments. There still will be times where something might happen where it's like, oh, really? Like, I might get a little jealous, or the hair might get ruffled on the back of my neck or something. But the difference is now that normally I know it's my reaction and I need to own that. And usually half the time I don't even tell him about it, because it's not his issue. It's my issue to him and the person or whatever's going on. And if I have a problem with the issue, then I need to say to him, hey, I'm not so sure when XYZ happens, how I feel about that. And can we talk about that? Not you did XYZ with her and why is that bad? So it's learning a lot of those kind of communication skills, those techniques. I'm not mad at him. I'm mad like that reaction, or what does that go, or how does that feel? And really kind of digging into that. And I think we really also grew a lot in stopping and taking a breath and pausing before we lashed out at our partner about what was wrong, what they did wrong. Because sometimes it's not what they did wrong. It's just how you feel about it. And so it's like, but I gave him permission to kiss anybody he wanted. So I can't go back and say, well, everybody except her. That's not okay. So, and if it was everybody except her, then I need to have a reason as to why, and then we have a relationship where he can say that's my choice. And so, that's okay too. Then we'll talk about that as well. So yes, there's jealousy. There's always been some of that. There will always be some of that. And there are lots of tools and techniques to help with that for folks that are out there. It's going to happen. Don't pretend that it won't, because you're human and you love the person that you're with.
Yeah. I was going to point out that we had both at that point read The Ethical Slut. And so we're pretty smart people, but we didn't come up with all this shit on our own. We had a framework and a guidebook, which
I love that book.
And so that was very, very important for us. Yeah. Had we not had that as a tool, we may still have arrived at the same place, but it rapidly accelerated our ability to get through it.
That's good. I talk about jealousy all the time. I'm a very, very jealous, territorial person. And that's just me with anybody that's in my life. I'm like that with my children. I'm like that with my husband.
It's exhausting.
That's just the way. I don't know. It's just in my head. And I know now in the years that I'm at and the situations that we've been through, I own it, and I'm not as jealous as I used to be. Like, I was very extremely territorial. Like, how dare you kiss somebody else? And like you said, I am the only beautiful woman in your life. How dare you call somebody else beautiful? Like, those are my words. I've come to finally realize that it's okay. For me, it's like, they're just words. Like, he's a sweet person. And so I try not to think too much about it, but for sure, jealousy has come up many times.
And I'm not a jealous person at all. So, I can sit there and see her do all sorts of stuff and be like rooting her on. I'm like, heck yeah, good for you. Get that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that you're having a good experience, because, it's not often that you can find a good experience. So when you have one, it's like, great, continue on with it. But I've had to learn how to navigate what she is feeling through all of this, because we are complete opposites when it comes to jealousy.
Yeah.
It's just so mismatched.
I used to think I didn't need an emotional attraction, I guess, or something like that. Like, I used to think, oh, I can be transactional. I know now that I don't. I can't be transactional. I have to at least talk to them. It could be as little as 30 minutes, but I do have to at least have some kind of connection with somebody. But beforehand, it was just like, whatever. And I used to just blow it off. And I get it now. I understand it. And I understand where he's coming from now, because I guess with the podcast and talking to people like yourselves, I get to learn a little bit more and learn how to navigate that better. So thank you for your stuff. I mean, that was very well put.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. And I think that's the biggest piece for both of us. Oh, not the biggest piece, but we talk about it often, is that we've both had to learn how to take a pause. And sometimes there's even times where we have said, I have something I need to talk to you about. I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but I'm going to get to it.
Yes.
And if I don't ever get to it, it'll be okay, because that just means I solved the problem. You know, and I mean,
Yes.
I've even had those conversations like, and then eventually something may come up and I go, remember that conversation I didn't quite have with you? Well, what happened was, I felt, hurt when this happened. And so I just need to tell you that now because that may trigger again. If maybe it's the same person or I don't even know. I'm just making something up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we've learned so much that your knee-jerk reaction when you're angry at your spouse or your partner is to fight back, right? We want to fight with you're wrong or whatever it is, or you said you would never do the things, or even you said you would take out the trash and you didn't, and it's a fight, whatever that is. We've just learned to stop and give that a moment and understand where it is for yourself. Because that's really what it was for me. It's like it's 90% of the time it's my reaction and my emotion to what's going on, and how do I tell him that in a way that doesn't make him defensive, because that doesn't help anything.
Yeah.
Right? So if I can come to him and say, hey, listen, I had a problem with this, and I know you didn't mean to hurt me, and I know you didn't mean to hurt my feelings, and you probably didn't even notice, but when you said this and you took her by the hand and you walked right off, I felt really alone, or I don't even know what, something like that. But to be able to put it in a way, again, taking it off of him, it wasn't, you did this wrong. It's when this happened, I felt this. And those techniques of empathetic listening and communication and the Oreo sandwich everybody's like, that's such bullshit. They totally work because it is totally true. It's our emotions and our feelings. And how do we honor? And so now it's just honoring that. And it's like, well, you can feel that way. You're absolutely allowed to feel that way. It doesn't mean I have to change what I'm doing. We have made an agreement. And then we talk about that a little bit more. So it just opens up a lot of communication, but it's a skill. It's a skill to learn how to stop and take that breath and go, why am I mad?
Okay, real quick, before we get back into it, we got to talk about SDC.com.
Oh, yes. Okay. So if you don't know SDC, it's basically the largest online community for open-minded adults.
Which, if you're listening to this show right now, I feel like you probably already know if that's your scene.
Yeah, it's your people all in one place. Just make a profile and go explore.
No weirdness, no judgment, just a ton of like-minded humans living their lives, just like us.
Honestly, it's kind of fun just to poke around.
Yeah, it really is. Go sign up at SDC.com. Use code 38236. Links in the show notes.
Okay, now back to what we were saying.
Yes. Now, did you find that having the podcast actually helped you in that growth?
That's a good question.
That's a great question that we've never been asked before. I think the answer has to be yes, because we're naturally, introspective people to begin with, but the podcast really crystallizes that. And we talk to so many people now, and so many people come up to us and talk to us, and we get so many more different perspectives than we did when it was just the two of us. So, and that in itself is very, very helpful. And just the amount of exposure that we have to the lifestyle and to all of the various relationship dynamics that we come across in the lifestyle, and all the thousands of people that we meet, it can only help us to be better.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's helped us grow. I mean, at least that's helped me grow. The show for sure. Just learning and talking to people.
I was just so exhausted to do the show. So I was like, I'm just going to get through the show, and then she can learn from everybody that we talk to, and she can just fill me in later because I'm exhausted. You know what I mean? But you guys know about that. It is work putting on the show. Now, are you guys still doing the podcast?
We are. So this is part of the world, and it's part of life. And our podcast was a hobby, and it is a hobby that we chose to talk to people about our journey. And a couple of years ago, so I'm of a certain age, of middle age, that women will hit, and so I started having all the issues. Man, well, it fucking sucks.
Oh,
and
girl.
Excuse my language about
yes,
that.
It does.
Yes, it does. So about, I don't know, maybe even like 3 years ago, I don't know, I looked at Tristan and I said, we hadn't done an episode in a while. And I said, I'm so sorry, but I don't even enjoy sitting across the table and looking at you right now. So I can't even imagine talking about going off and having sex with people I don't know. And, and so I hit a bit of a roadblock. And so we paused for a bit, and then we did an episode about that because I said, you know what, if I'm feeling like this, how are other women that are in the lifestyle feeling about this? So we did an episode about that. And that was probably actually now 3 years ago by the time you get up, 2 or 3 years ago. And so we talked about the fact that I was going through menopause and premenopause and all the pauses and all the things and all the stuff and things that everybody else was doing was helping them, but it wasn't helping me. And so I had to do a lot more, and I started to do a lot more exploration and other things. So to make a long story longer, we still do some episodes and talk about when we go to events and different things that are new and different. We did do a couple more story episodes. We call those the recorded ones with the raw recording. We call those our story episodes. We've done a couple more of those. We have a few more of those still even left. But the world is changing and our lives are changing and our bodies are changing and our dynamics are changing, and where we were 6 years ago is not where we are today. And so we're going to keep on talking about this in the podcast and like aging. How does this change things? I'm
Yes.
really unhappy that I did not know that, 8 years ago, I was not multi-orgasmic and I was not allowed to squirt because I didn't know that I could, and I just didn't know anything about it and just those things. And I would shut my body down because you would get one orgasm and that was all you could get, And then when I joined the lifestyle and figured out not only could I have multiple partners, I could have multiple orgasms, I could squirt, I could do all these things. And then 3 years ago to get all that shut down was not acceptable to me. I'm still quite angry. And, but my whole body has changed. Yeah. So we've put some things on hold a little bit. And now that I'm coming kind of out of that fog, we're going to start talking about what that looks like and how we've balanced an incredibly tough time in our lives, and how we will continue to balance incredibly tough times moving forward because I have aging parents. My father's passed, but my mother has Alzheimer's, and I'm her caregiver, and she lives close by, not in our house. But so there's life. Just life gets in the way of sex. And so, but we decided that we're going to continue on and talk about the life parts because we all need that community together. And
Absolutely.
I
folks
love
that
that.
are non-monogamous are our community. So
Yeah,
that's what we're
no.
going to keep talking about it and keep pressing on. And it may get less sexy.
I was just about to say that it's not like, we don't have sexy stories to tell
Oh,
still.
we
I mean,
do.
we
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely
Oh,
do.
yeah.
It's just they don't come along as quickly as they used to.
Oh, guys, let me tell you, I went through menopause. I'm 48. I went through menopause when I moved 300 miles away from my family, my kids, and my husband, and we were poly.
We were poly.
Which, full disclosure, I did not like poly. I am not a poly person.
I enjoyed it.
It is not for me. I did it for him. I tried it for 5 years. It was good. But when I was in menopause away from them, I was like, fuck this shit. And I was like, I don't know what's going on with me. So I feel you. I totally understand. Life is funny like that. And
Oh man,
we're almost out
there
of it
couldn't
though.
have been a better time for us to be poly than when you were going through menopause.
I know, it
and
was
if we
so
had
much
known
fun.
about it ahead of time, I would have been like, let's put the brakes on that. Like that's not a good idea at
It
all.
was so much fun.
Yeah, that was a rough time.
But
That
it's
was
a
rough
different,
time.
I'm in a different stage of my life. The fog has slowly cleared. I'm a little spicier. I know what I want. I know what I like. I know how to navigate our relationship a little bit better and communicate better. And I don't know if that has to do with just kind of slowing down or whatever. But yeah, no, I totally life is it's a bitch.
And
It's a bitch.
we, in talking to some other folks in the lifestyle that we all know, and we don't hear a lot of people continuing on the conversation when the fun, sexy part goes away. And and we all, I always tell Tristan, I may not have sex with strangers for the rest of my life, but I will be a swinger for the rest of my life. I will be in the lifestyle for the rest of my life, whatever that looks like, because that the atmosphere and the friendships and the community that there is that are lifestyle folks. So whether or not you're having sex with whoever that means, whatever swinging means to you, to me, it just means being with those folks, with the people that are also enjoying their authenticity. And that's what I want to be around with when I continue, as I grow older and we move through this. So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep talking about these things because there are a bunch of us out there that are each other's community, and we're just going to need each other more as we move forward in our aging community. What are these things that we deal with? I don't know. I don't know the stuff that's coming up. I don't know with like, vaginal dryness and all that stuff. I don't know quite yet what all of that is. I know some of it, but like there's a lot that's coming down the road, and there's so much information out there. I forget what I was doing the other day, and someone said, "Oh, well, have you heard about the blah, blah, blah?" And I'm like, no, and how come I have not heard about this? And now I can't remember what it was because my brain fog is there. But it was something like, why aren't we all talking about whatever piece of equipment this was? And I'm like, that's why I'm going to be starting to talk about these things. And Chris, you guys should too, all of us should be talking about these things.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get a platform of just women or even couples that are going through this and want to talk about it because I mean, aging affects us women, but aging also affects men. And I feel like men are so embarrassed to talk about it. And in my culture, when my mom went through menopause, we didn't talk about it. Like we did not talk about it. Like that is something you just do not discuss. And like it's a taboo subject. Like when my mom is going through, my mom has dementia, so I can't ask her, but I remember asking her about that and be like, wow, you went through menopause. She goes, I never went through that. Well, of course you did. We felt it. You didn't, but we didn't discuss that. That was nothing to be discussed. And now I feel like it needs to be discussed. There's so many women in the lifestyle that are going to go through this. They need to be prepared.
And there's many that we've met that are in denial.
And it's like, no, we're like, you're like that because of this. Like, get checked out. But no, it does need to be discussed on both what women go through and what men go through in age, for sure.
Yeah, that's always tough.
And I think I had more men reach out to me, or not more men, but as many men than women reached out to me when we did that very first episode when I said, I just am not having fun anymore. And this right now just sucks, and it's going to go away, and it's going to whatever. And apparently in just talking about it, the men were like, oh, thank God. And the women too. It's like, thank you. Because now he believes that there's somebody else that is like, I'm not just making this shit up. It's like, I don't know why all of a sudden I was a happy 3 seconds ago and I turned around and saw your face and I want to rip it apart. I don't know why that is, and so talking about those things, like it's going to happen. It's there. So let's be the community that we are and help each other through it.
I've actually had discussions with husbands in the local community about, what their role needs to be because their spouse is going through menopause and just what you can expect and how you need to navigate that. Because a lot of guys don't even know what it is, much less know how to navigate it. And navigating life is hard enough as it is, but to navigate your spouse who's going through something that neither one of you know what it is even more difficult, Right. So it's definitely helps to talk about it nonstop. Going from that, I was curious. How did you get involved with Naughty Nawlins? Where's connect the dots for me?
Well, it's actually not hard to connect those dots. If you listen to our podcast, Naughty Nawlins. So we got into the lifestyle in February or March, depending on who you listen to, who has the correct swingerversary date, but of whatever year that was.
2018.
2018. I could see he's the numbers guy too. And I'm like, what year was that? Yeah. So, I don't know numbers either. So, so that was 2018. And then we had been listening to the Joneses podcast, and they were talking about this event that they went to, Naughty Nawlins. And so it was like 3 months away, and we thought, do we go to this thing? And we were like, no, we don't know anything. We hadn't even been on a date yet. And then we thought, you know what? We were going to have FOMO. We're going to have the fear of missing out. If we don't go, we're going to be for a year. We're going to be like, damn it, we should have gone to that Naughty Nawlins thing. So we decided to go 3 months into the lifestyle, and we decided to go to Naughty Nawlins. Now, I appreciate what you said, that it's one of the largest swinging events in the country. I would dare to say it's probably the largest swinger takeover event in the world, because it'll be over 4,000 people this year. Wow. For a 5-day, 4-night event. So it's huge. And so when we went, it wasn't quite that big, but it was big. And for brand new swingers, boy, was it a lot. And we're obviously so thrilled that we went. You have to listen to it's a 3-part episode. If you listen to our episodes, our podcast is episode 8, 9, and 10. It took so long well, this is all the recordings. Don't forget, this was before we weren't recording this for you guys to listen to. This was for us. So I'm literally there. I apologize now because I always get yelled at for it. I was eating chicken at 4 a.m. in the morning at the Astor Hotel, and I fall asleep actually while I'm talking, but it was so important for everybody to hear that because it truly happened. And people still email and say she eats when she's talking. And I'm like, I said I'm going to be eating. This wasn't for this. You're welcome. But anyways, so the event we went and it was amazing. And we had an off the charts chain of a time, listened to the episodes. We didn't know shit. We tried to make sure we met people before we went. I'll tell you how we do that in the episode. Actually, we're getting ready and I'll tell about the end too. You guys can join us this year if you want to come to. If anybody's coming, we'll tell you how to meet up with us to make sure that you don't show up alone. We don't want anybody to show up to Naughty Nawlins by themselves if they don't ever want to. That's how I made sure that we didn't that very first year. And so we put some things into place to meet people before we went. And then we went and we blew every rule that we had accidentally out of the water. Yep. We learned trial by fire about what boundaries and guidelines are. And we learned everything on the fly. And it was just an amazing, wonderful time. And we just had an absolute blast. So we were like, this event is off the charts. And so we went again the next year. And that was 2019. 2020 COVID came, as we all remember. And now by 2021, our podcast had started. And I was actually working with other creators because my vanilla job in COVID ended and I was looking for something to do. And I had this podcast thing I was doing. So I looked to do other things. And I actually work now with creators. And so we had a little bit of a time off, and I was doing stuff with events, and I've always worked in events. I've always planned events for companies and groups and organizations and things. So when Naughty 2021 was coming around, I thought I'm going to volunteer to help them with their education. So what I do. So it's easy for me. It's an easy lift. And I know a bunch of folks and I know about running events and I know about bringing in speakers to run events. So I reached out to Bob Hannaford and Tess, and I said, do you need any help with this? And he said, actually, I could use a little bit of help with this. And I said, great. And so I worked with Bob that first year, and then they hired me on after that, and I've been with them ever since. So it truly was just from reaching out because it was something I wanted to do and wanted to be involved with this organization because it was the first lifestyle event that we went to, and it has such a place in our hearts, and it always will. It's been phenomenal. So that's how I'm the Naughty Headmistress because I handle all the education. The Naughty Headmistress.
I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to this event. I was kind of scared because we're not big drinkers, and everybody's like, it's going to be a party, like, up all night, and it's going to be super loud. And I was like, that doesn't sound fun to me at all. Like, no. And I was talking to other people like Lacey and Dan from Swing Nation, and they're like, no, it's there's sections and you're going to have so much fun and you're going to get to meet so many people. I'm looking forward to just meeting people and just talking because I love chatting.
Man. Yeah,
like, I'm better in person with people.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to be there. We're going to have an exhibitor booth out there. And so we're excited to be a part of that. But I am also an anxious person. I actually have social anxiety and, crowds, but, we are who we are. We do what we do. And so, we get placed in situations where we get put in crowds and we have to socialize with people. So I think I'll be okay. But yeah, just thinking about when you said, 4,000 people, 4,000 people. 4,000
That's
people.
a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. My goodness, that's a lot.
And I'm assuming, everything's organized, right? There's speakers. I saw that there's going to be speakers. There's a parade. There's all kinds of things that are going to be going on. So I'm looking forward to all the themes. I know I always talk about I don't like themes.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about these themes.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you that we're going to spend a good little penny on that. So
Oh boy.
I think the thing that we loved about Naughty, and just to give you a little bit of rest about your anxiety, you don't have to dress in theme, first of all. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And there are many that do not. There are many that go way above and beyond what I would ever do. And I am the middle of the road theme kind of girl. I'm kind of like the way I cook. If it takes more than 5 ingredients, including the spices, I'm not going to cook it. So if it's like, if it takes more than 3 to 4 things to put together the outfit, I probably am not going to wear it. I'm just not, just too high maintenance for me. So don't feel like you have to do all the things is kind of what I'm trying to say. The other thing too is actually I think it's next week or the week after, but you can go back and look at last couple of years, but every year we do a Naughty guide to Naughty Nawlins, and we do a live stream on YouTube. And so folks can come on, we talk, and we have Kendra, who is the director of operations, is there. And we talk about kind of the logistics of the event. We talk about what to expect. We talk about how it runs, so that those of you who are a little anxious and a little bit nervous, you'll have a lay of the land before you go. And then we take questions live. So people can ask us their questions right then and there.
Great.
And we'll be announcing that. I can actually, let me look it up on my phone and I'll tell you right when it's going to be.
do that.
But we'll be doing that. But we do have the ones from the last 2 or 3 years are on our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and just look up Accidental Swingers, we look like this. That's us. So, but yeah, and we'll be doing that.
Actually, I no longer have a beard.
Oh, that's
so
true.
we don't
True.
look exactly like this.
That's true.
Okay.
We
No
don't.
beard.
He doesn't.
Right.
I will tell you. I also battle with social anxiety and always have, and it doesn't make for easy swinging, but
Yeah.
I'm working with it.
All
But I will
right.
tell you that the beauty of an event this large is that, and this also, Pris, goes to your concern, that with an event this large, there is so much that you can do, and so many options, and so many, there's so much available that you can really, we like to say, choose your own adventure. And so you can make it look whatever way you want it to look. And with all of those options, it's easy to find something that, a path that makes you comfortable.
I'm excited.
And I don't want to go into it too much because you can definitely join us on that YouTube.
Right.
The other thing I was going to tell you guys, so if you want to join us, so I got to do it, but every year we have opened up a Discord group for any of our listeners that are going to Naughty. And so that's how people can kind of meet each other. So we open up a Discord group, and there may be, I don't know, 20, 40 couples in there that are all going to Naughty, and everybody starts chatting. And so that's kind of how you meet folks before you even go. And our little groups tend to get really friendly. They tend to get to know each other really, really well. And they'll do dinner reservations together and all sorts of things. And so there's tons of hints and resources and stuff in our Discord group. I would happily add you guys if you would like, and you are more than welcome to bring anybody from your community that would like to do it, because it is not an easy thing to set up, and we're a few weeks out from the event. So if you don't want to do something like that this year and you want to have community, you're more than welcome to let your folks know, and I'll give you the link for the Discord group. The only thing that we ask is that there are just a few rules and guidelines. And obviously we don't do any political stuff, no hate speech, nothing that could be shameful by accident even. I just delete that. If it's something that someone says like, ooh, you would do that, then we just delete that, because we wouldn't want to accidentally shame somebody. But then, and then we post naked pictures, but only in the spicy chat group, because I never wanted that was what mortified me, was when I was a brand new newbie and I was invited to this group, and we went online, and it was all these pictures of people fucking and pussies everywhere. And I'm like, oh, these people, who are they? I don't know what they're doing. Oh my God,
Yeah.
We could talk about this for 2 hours. And walk you through all of it. So definitely go check out the old videos or join us. It's going to be Tuesday, June 2nd. So I don't know when you're going to air this one, but anybody who wants to join us, we'll hope to see you on Tuesday. But yeah, we'll talk all about it. But I think the other thing too, Pris, is that, as Tristan said, with 4,000 people, there is so much. There is everything from the parties are the parties. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Will there be drinking? Absolutely. Will there be a ton of people not drinking? Absolutely. They're just there for the parties. They're just there to dance and have a good time and doing whatever. It's it's just an amazing time. But there's everything from, if the parties is not your scene, there is the piano bar that's open in the evening instead of the big dance boom 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 parties. There's the piano bar, or there's always some kind of crafting or meet and greet going on, and there's, of course, the playrooms are open. But there's probably at least a dozen different activities going on at any one given time. I'm not kidding.
And multiple hotels too.
Yeah.
So, and each hotel kind of has its own vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's plenty to do, and you don't have to feel like having to be at the center of the party if that is not your jam. You don't have to do that. We have friends that they're early birds, and they plan all of their orgies during the day, and nobody even sees them at night. Like, I think they go to bed probably at 9 o'clock, and but they are up having a lot of sex all day long.
Yep.
That's
Afternoon
me right
orgies
there.
every year, and
I think that's a good idea.
Well,
That's a
you're
great
in luck
idea.
because we have a lot of those scheduled for Naughty New Orleans this year. There'll be a lot of fun stuff happening.
I love it. That's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, we're really, really excited, and we're happy to be a part of it this year. I think that's probably, we were already talking about getting to go out there, but to be able to do a show out there as well, and experience it kind of from fresh eyes. We've heard so much about it. There's so many people that are, for lack of a better word, addicted to it. And so we are ready to get addicted to this one as well. I think it's pretty exciting. Myrina and Tristan, genuinely thank you. We appreciate you coming out to come talk to us. This is exactly the kind of conversation that this community needed, and you brought it tonight. We appreciate that.
All of it. I love it. So many notes. I'm going to take so many notes, and I may or may not be looking up flights to New Orleans right now because I know we're going to be there anyway.
Yeah, she's kidding. We're gonna pay the gas prices. We're driving.
Yeah, we're driving.
All right. Well, if you want to find Myrina and Tristan, go check out the Accidental Swingers podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Find them, follow them, subscribe. They are the real deal.
Yes.
And their information is also going to be in our show notes, so you can find everything Accidental Swingers there as well. And for Naughty Nawlins, head over to naughtyneworleans2026.com. The 2026 event runs July 8th through the 12th in New Orleans. And if you have been on the fence about going, it's time to flip to the other side.
It's a big lifestyle event.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people, and it's going to be so much fun because we know how to party.
Absolutely. We know how to party. That link is going to be in the show notes, so you don't have to remember a thing.
Yes. So go and look it up tonight.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Beyond Monogamy. While you're out there, stop by beyond-monogamy.com. Every episode we've ever dropped, video clips, guest bios, our blog, our merch, our full events calendar, all sitting right there waiting for you.
And of course, the Beyond Monogamy confessional, fully anonymous. We read
Yeah.
every single one. There's nothing too wild. Trust me. We've heard them all. Whatever is on your mind about the lifestyle, whatever question you're afraid to say out loud, drop it in beyond-monogamy.com.
Yeah, look at that. You're good. That's right. And hit that subscribe button on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you're listening right now. Leave us a 5-star review because you know you love us. You love us. And with that, we appreciate you guys listening to us for another week.
Yes.
And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.